legal battle over whether Hillary Clinton's former campaign lawyer misrepresented himself to the FBI. The Trump camp alleging a conspiracy to undermine former President Trump's 2016 campaign. Sussman is accused of lying to the FBI about his connection to the Clinton campaign. Both sides have now rested their cases.
Sussman actually claimed at the time he was working totally independently, when in fact we now know he was being paid and working for Hillary Clinton's campaign. So lying to the FBI in that manner, that is a federal crime.
That's right. The former president telling Fox News, this is one of the greatest political scandals in history. For 3 years, I had to fight her off and fight those crooked people off. You'll never get your reputation fully back. Where do I go to get my reputation back? Great question.
Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. As one of the most controversial trials in U.S. history about Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman is coming to an end, some mind-bending mysteries and questions still remain unanswered about the origin of the fake ties between Trump and the Russian Alfa Bank. Being a Democratic Party lawyer and having powerful connections with the Democrats, the Obama-appointed judge, Christopher Cooper, already seems to be making biased decisions in favor of Sussman. Furthermore, even if Cooper decides to order in favor of Durham on the basis of valid and reasonable facts, he's still forced to bend himself in favor of Sussman because of his wife, Amy Jeffries. You see, Amy is a former senior official with the Department of Justice and a lawyer for Lisa Page, who is one of the leading supporters of the FBI's Trump-Russia investigation. Not to forget, Cooper's marriage was officiated by Obama's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who currently oversees Durham's actions. So there's a lot of Democratic dominance going on in and around this case, which is somehow making Durham's long night efforts look weaker. Now, the actual question is, who will be John Durham's next target? Who cannot escape the legal bars even if he had sufficient support from the Democratic Party? We also must keep in mind the long-standing experience of Durham. It seems his targets are well within his reach. From a Russian analyst to the FBI also being secretly involved in dragging Trump into this fake issue, we are going to uncover them one by one. To begin with, the first suspect that's falling under Durham's radar is Russian analyst Igor Danchenko. After opening his file, he has been found that in November 2021, Danchenko was charged with lying to the FBI about making up a conversation with Sergei Milyan, a man that does not exist, lying about his own sources, and also charged with hiding his conversations with Clinton operative Charles Dolan from FBI. The influence of the Obama-appointed judge became more evident when Durham decided to charge Danchenko in Virginia instead of Washington, despite Danchenko spilling his lies with FBI interrogation in both the states. Moreover, Danchenko's interview transcript reveals he spilled more lies than Sussman. However, Durham has charged him with only 5 lies about which he happens to have audio recordings, which hints towards a stronger case than Sussman. And as Danchenko is a Russian national with few connections, it would be easier for Durham to fight confidently in Virginia without facing any Democratic hands on the judge. The next target under Durham's radar includes people from outside the government who further contributed towards spreading fake Trump and Russia connections. For example, Clinton-led campaign lawyer Mark Elias, Fusion GPS co-founder Peter Fritsch, and Glenn Simpson, and of course, Hillary Clinton, who astonishingly launched a dedicated scheme to create fake connections between Trump and Russia by using the power of the press. However, the one that caught Durham's attention the most is Rodney Joffe, who was intentionally offered a top government job if Hillary Clinton wins by spreading these lies. Feeling motivated by the offer, Joffe took no time in helping out Hillary by handing over false Alfa Bank data to his attorney, Michael Sussman, who later handed it over to the FBI. And as the fake train started pumping its engine, Joffe took another major action by taking the same fake Alpha data to FBI agent Tom Grasso, so that Hillary would know he was taking sufficient actions to earn his government position. And to ensure this fake news looks authentic, Joffe tried to play a master plan by telling Tom that he got this information from a reporter, and then that Tom should keep his name secret, So from one side, Sussman was trying his best to convince the FBI to initiate false proceedings against Trump, and from the other side, Joff was ready to back Sussman's fake story by coming forward independently, while in fact, all the fake data was just coming from Joff himself. Although Joff has not been charged with any offense, last week during the proceedings, it was discovered that Joff is the one who was misleading the FBI about finding the origin of the Alpha data. Moreover, he also concealed his connections with Sussman and the Clinton campaign from the FBI. Nevertheless, as the alleged lies were made by Joff in 2016, they now fall under the 5-year statute of limitation, which says no civil action under the law can be taken against a person if 5 years has expired from the date he committed that offense. Which also brings us to the question, why was Joff not charged? According to experts, either Durham had let the statutory limit expire on its own, or he had far more serious charges in mind for Joff than lying to the FBI. Because in case of a major fraud against the United States government, which Joff already did, the statutory limit is 7 years instead of 5 years. And the last target included on Durham's radar is the FBI, which tried its best to hide its action from Durham but failed to do so. The suspicious nature of the FBI caught Durham's attention when Sussman's case under the FBI was handed over to Curtis Hayde in their Chicago office. Because Curtis Hayde is currently being investigated by the Department of Justice for hiding a piece of significant evidence that could have helped in convicting Sussman for his illegal attempts. Furthermore, Curtis was also in charge of the investigation of Trump's 2016 campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, and was the one who arrested Trump advisor Roger Stone from his home in Florida. Another astonishing fact came into the picture when Sussman's team argued that the FBI intentionally stopped field agents from interviewing David Dagan, a tech expert who helped Joff gather the controversial Alpha data. Now, it should be noted that Durham currently works under Biden's DOJ, which makes it difficult for him to drag such high-profile figures into the court. However, if Republicans manage to grab power in the November elections, it would not only make it easier for Durham to pursue his case confidently, but will also give him the much-needed political cover. Thankfully, Durham's efforts did turn fruitful because the trial helped in bringing forward two main points. One, FBI leaders were also targeting Trump, and two, Hillary Clinton organized a scheme to spread fake rumors about Trump and Russia connections.
The CDC expects to receive additional samples today from possible monkeypox cases across the country. The agency saying it has confirmed one case in Massachusetts. There are other suspected infections in New York City, Florida, Utah, and Washington State.
Because much in the media and on the left want to continue to exploit the pandemic to make it seem like we haven't done enough in order to justify continuing controls on American citizens.
After the CDC recently raised its travel advisory from level 1 to level 2 due to an increase in the monkeypox cases in Europe, North America, and Australia, author Cheryl Chumley has come forward with a warning that the world's current response to monkeypox is signaling towards the same stage of lockdown period that existed before COVID-19. Cheryl, who recently published her book called Lockdown, The Socialist Plan to Take Away Your Freedom, argued that the current government and media reactions in response to monkeypox parallel a pattern of signals that led to COVID lockdowns. And she said, if you watched as we moved from the circumstances to the various variants, and now here we are with the media drumming up fear and hysteria about the monkeypox, it seems to be leading that way. And that's not just me taking a guess. It's some of these health bureaucrats that favored lockdowns in the beginning of COVID 2+ years ago who are saying the same things. By arguing against the negative effects of lockdowns, she stressed that lockdowns not only impose a threat to an individual's liberty, but also created a condition for the American citizens to shift their mindsets from the individual rights to collective rights, where we are bound to care about other people's perceptions than our own. Although CDC has advised that the risk to the general public is low at this moment from monkeypox, Chumley expressed that the world is responding to crises like COVID and monkeypox is undergoing a massive battle between those who love freedom, as it comes from the Creator, to those who want to use this pandemic and people's fear to create a big collectivist society. While referring to collectivist society, she said that people like Klaus Schwab, who is the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, blindly favors this type of society. She added that this form of collectivism that Schwab is advocating is a form of socialism, which has been flowing for decades through America's institutions in numerous ways. Now, surprisingly, during her virtual speech at the 2020 World Economic Forum meeting in China, she praised China for fighting its way through the pandemic and helping the world in grabbing a window of opportunity to reset their economy, society, and everything towards a better living. She said, "The idea is to take this pandemic and to piggyback it or platform it into something even greater that can reset the entire world's economies and reset the entire world's societies." However, in the end, she defended individual liberty by stating, "No matter what comes as the next threat, whether it's a military threat or it's a threat of another health matter, you have to keep liberty, individual liberty, liberty that comes from above a creator, at the forefront of all decisions. You can't just throw your hands up in fear and panic and race down the road towards enslavement to government mandates." Thank you all for spending time with me. Now don't forget, take a look at this video up here, and I'll see you next time.